Yes, there's a baby inside.
He comes again, we will say, you are worthy. If spring is the season that wakes me alive, then fall is the season to contemplate life. Oh, yeah. I don't know what is it exactly in this time of year that makes the melancholy me reappear. Oh, yeah. Back and forth through dark roast coffee, salt, mist and sea, sand and amber trees. 'Cause it still feels like summer, but it's soaked in nostalgia.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go now. Almost 7:30. Let me show you guys some essentials. That's things I usually take along just to make my life easier. One is a bottle of water. This one is compulsory. I cannot do without it because I've been drinking water like a troll. And this time I'm just taking this apple in case I get hungry or I don't get attended to on time. I take this wrapper so that when they need to examine the bump, it won't be awkward because I'm wearing a dress. Up until now, every time I attend ANC, I always go with a trouser and a shirt so that way I can easily pull up the shirt without exposing too much. But when you wear a dress and you have to pull it up from your knee, this is an essential. So I'm going today with this, my very soft dress, because it is well aerated. It is usually hot there. Just with this one, I know that I won't have so much issue with the heat. And then of course my phone and my earpiece, because when they are wasting time I can get busy on the phone. Don't forget your cards. Don't forget your cards. Then the next thing when you get there is to drop a urine sample. They have a toilet there, but because of the number of people going into there, it's usually smelly and not clean, so I prefer to put my sample in a plastic rubber like this. I use it and I dispose it. So that's what I usually do. I do it from home so that I just pour it into their sample bottles when I get there, so I don't have to use the toilet.
Still feels like summer, and I simply don't wanna see the cold wind sneak back in our town. 'Cause we lived when it was all bare feet, tan skin glistening beneath the heat, evening swirl into a bright song beat. God, it's now so very bittersweet, so I guess I'll just put on my favorite sweater.
Guys, I'm here now. It's a few minutes to 8, so I'm just going to rush in. I'm not late actually, but I just wished I was earlier than this because I was filming as I was trying to prepare, so it delayed me a little bit. I was really planning to be here by 7:30 there, but so I'm just about 15 minutes late, which is not too bad. So let me rush in. I'll be carrying you guys along. Okay. Here is the teaching hospital located in Benin City. This is the antenatal clinic hall where pregnant women wait. So the first thing once I got there was to drop my cards. Then I went on to pick up the urine sample bottles, poured in my sample, submitted it at the lab, and then there's this red card that we always place on it. Because I was early on this day, it didn't take time for my number to be called, so I went on the scale and my weight was taken and recorded. The next thing was the health talk. It's usually preceded by some dancing and some singing.
Charlie must be blessed. My child is blessed with the blessings of God. And it must be blessed. Charlie must be blessed. My child is blessed with the blessings of God.
interesting singing session is usually followed by a short prayer session, after which the nurse in charge of the health talk for that day come on and talk to pregnant women about their health. Now, on this particular day, we were taken on an excursion to the labor ward, just so we know the way there when it's time. Okay, so here is the labor ward of the teaching hospital, and we were shown exactly where to go once you are in labor, and just shown around basically. On getting back to the hall, my number was called again, and it was time for me to take my blood pressure reading. This was done by a nurse, and the recording was taken. Now, after this, there was a long wait before it was time for me to see my doctor. Before the wait was over, there were some people from the Nigerian Television Authority who came around to take some recording, and I waited, guys, for my turn in the consulting room. And finally, I got to see my doctor, who took some measurements on my bum and asked me a series of questions. Now, on this particular day, there was a strike, an ongoing strike, and I could not take my PCV, because normally that would be the next thing. You are expected to take your PCV like twice in a month, but because of the strike by the JOHESU, I couldn't do that. The next thing was to go for my routine drugs. Now, this is the pharmacy attached to the antenatal clinic, and once again, because of the strike, it was on lockdown. So it was locked up, and I couldn't take any routine drug on this day. So after the routine drug is taken, the next point of visit should be the records. The antenatal medical records office is not far away from the hall. They are just like series of offices close to the antenatal clinic. They are specifically for the antenatal patients. And yeah, you guessed right, I couldn't book for my next appointment because of the strike. Because of that, I headed home quite earlier than I would have on a normal day. It's currently 11:30 a.m. and I am leaving the hospital and going back home. So this is the earliest I have been. Most days I leave the hospital around 1 p.m, 2 p.m, because I don't usually come early. Then another factor that made it early for me today is the fact that the JOHESU, which is the Joint Health something organization of every other person aside from the doctors and the nurses, they are on strike. Okay, so because of that, I couldn't do some other things which I have mentioned earlier on. I couldn't have my sample taken for PCV. I couldn't book for my next appointment. I will have to come back maybe when the strike is over, or probably next week, to book for my next appointment, which is supposed to be in a month's time. And also, I couldn't take my usual drugs, my routine drugs. Each of these points usually attracts a queue. So on a normal day, I would have gone there, joined the queue, waited some more. Yeah, at the time I was supposed to even see my doctor, I couldn't because I did follow. They told me I was after somebody, and then they changed the person's card to another consultant room. And because I was not sure my own name was called, I also followed the person to the other consultant room and waited there for like 30 minutes before I realized my name was not there, and I had to come back to the general room. Yeah, I saw my doctor. I couldn't film there because I was the only one with him. Nobody could. I don't have my tripod here, and he was just so serious that I felt like he may not like me to film, even if it's myself. So I just put my camera away, except for that little clip you saw there. I'll soon be home. My home isn't far from the hospital, and then we'll wrap this up. I am home now, guys. At the ANC clinic, there are usually some women that bring food, and when I tell you that these women, they understand pregnancy craving. They bring things that pregnant women would like. Apart from the snack, there's this particular woman that brings my mind, And there was one ANC clinic where I was very hungry, guys. My body was almost shaking. You know when a pregnant man is hungry, right? My body was literally shaking and I didn't have cash on me. So I went to her. I wanted to make transfer. She refused. I made sure I found a way to get money at the end of the day. And by the time I was able to get cash, it was that period where cash was kind of scarce. So I had to pay extra to get cash. And when I eventually did, my mind was exhausted. That day I wanted to die. I was so pained. But after then, my next clinic, I made sure I had cash and I bought in bulk. It's Friday. My clinic days are Fridays always. So sometimes I don't like to cook Friday evening. I just like to relax. So whenever I go for ANC, I buy this my. And today I bought, and it's so cheap, guys. It's so cheap. I don't usually like my with egg, so I bought the one without egg. They are in the leaf like this. Won't fail. So this one is 12 pieces of my and that's what we'll have for dinner. So no more cooking for the rest of today. I will take mine for lunch, then the other people will take theirs for dinner. Dinner is sorted. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to film this, guys. When I woke up this morning, I wasn't sure I really wanted to do this, but I hope you have had fun watching this. I wasn't also sure how possible it will be. Will I feel awkward and all that? But contrary to that, I thoroughly enjoyed the filming process, and I'll try to edit it well so that you guys will have fun watching it. So yeah, these are the things you have to expect at the antenatal clinic in a public hospital in Nigeria. Yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to the channel if you're new or you haven't seen this face before. My name is Kemi Omorugbe. Catch you in the next video. Bye.